How she get all? You see this? How she get all those followers? That's so funny to be that cute.
Man, I wish I had big arms like this. Let's see. Dang. Maybe I do some more push-ups to get there. Oh well, whatever.
Oh my God, look at this house. I think I want this.
Oh, if we sold our cars, if we sold our land, we could afford it.
I mean, I want all of that too.
Dang. We need some money. We're back.
Hi, Kenny and Christia, and this is first of all, I know that was kind of a weird intro, but thank you guys so much for all the great feedback from the last video. We weren't really even expecting that. We just felt like it was something on our heart that we wanted to put out there. Yeah. So we're back. And this time we are talking about
3 ways to cultivate gratefulness.
You know, right?
Yeah.
Now, how many of us, and we're guilty, have scrolled across, social media or in person, and we get a little jealous and a little envious, and it just seems like what we have just isn't enough, and that's kind of easy to do, and kind of easy to kind of feel like that these days with, everybody's life is so perfect on social media. Ours definitely isn't. So if any of y'all thought that, you are mistaken.
Be the first.
But that kind of plays with your emotions, right? When you see stuff on social media and you're like, I want that.
Exactly. And it can make you look at people in a weird way, whether you know them personally or whether you don't.
Right.
Because sometimes social media has brought the world closer. So even celebrities that you don't even know, you find yourself looking at them with a side eye, like,
right,
man. And honestly, these are issues that are in our own heart that we have to deal with.
Yeah, so. Definitely. Issues of the heart. So, comparison. Number one, comparison is like a great thief to our joy, because we're simply comparing. There's always going to be somebody that has enough or has more than what you have. There's always going to be someone who's doing what you want to do, exactly what you want to do. There's always going to be, someone who's on the level that you're trying to get to. But guess what? There's always someone else that's looking at you the same way. And so if we're constantly looking around at each other's, the good things about each other's lives and things that we start to envy, we don't take a look to see like what's great that's going on in our life. And that can be pretty dangerous.
It really can. So number one, stop comparing yourself to others. We have been so guilty of this. And we've had several sermons and just different people that have come across our life that have recently been talking about this exact thing. And it's been like, wow, thank you God for reminding us of this again. So if you are comparing yourself to someone, you may, and if you're following on social media, you may have to go through a season where you have to click that unfollow button or hide their post for a while so that the focus can get back to where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you don't like that person. Exactly. It doesn't mean that you're mad at that person. It just means that, there's something weird going on in my heart when I see that, and that's something that I don't want to feed. I want to starve that. So I may have to, I saw Jen Johnson a couple of months ago from Bethel. She actually said the same thing, like, pray about who you're following right now. And if there's somebody that you're not really supposed to follow right now, maybe. Doesn't mean that you don't like that person at all. So that's number one.
Yeah. So I would say number two, practice gratefulness. Yeah. And there's, we found a way a couple of years ago, something that's really been helping us. And honestly, we have to get better with this. Yeah. As we're preparing for this video, this idea came to our mind again. So
this isn't something that we created at all. This is something I found on Pinterest a few years ago. We were going through a really rough season, and this thankfulness jar just really puts into perspective, that your life isn't that bad. Before we had Shiloh, our first pregnancy ended in miscarriage, and it was a time that was really devastating for us. But one of the things that I found in that period was I was grateful that I was able to conceive. So that's one of the things that we put inside the jar, being grateful for those things, even though, your life might not be exactly where you want it to be. You might not be in the position that you want to be in, and life hits sometimes, and that it can be very difficult. But what are some things that you can be grateful about? It's been crazy. We've been trying to actually record this video for the last 2 weeks now. Yes. And we got kids. Yes. Right? So life. We haven't been able to. But it's so crazy that we've been hearing the same message for the last 2 weeks at church. A few weeks ago, one of our pastors talked about writing it down. So you can write down things that you're grateful for, or write down thank you notes to people.
Thank you, St. Louis weather, for reaching 100 degrees for several days this week, and for filling up my social media feeds with photos of everyone's dashboard thermometers.
Our last key to cultivating a life of gratefulness has nothing to do with you, has nothing to do with me, has nothing to do with Kenny. The last key is to find the beauty in other people. What do you say about it?
There is a lot of beauty around us. And when you can even find just one thing about somebody that you really like or you really admire, go tell them, and encourage them, because you never know how much they may need to hear that. A lot of us deal with insecurities, and the very thing that we may hate about ourselves, you may see the beauty in that, and that may encourage them to just be like, wow, okay, it's not as bad as I thought.
Yeah. And it's not, I'm sorry, it is kind of about you too, because when you see the joy that brings to that person, that just makes you feel that joy as well. So, there's a win-win in that situation. So finding the beauty in other people is a really great key to cultivating a grateful life.
And can I just add that, this may not happen overnight to where you go from being ungrateful to grateful. That is a process, and give yourself patience and grace in the process for that. Journal if you're not a journaler, just start to write down even one sentence, I'm grateful for this today. And it may be something that you have to force yourself to do for a while. But once you start to see, wow, I do have a lot of things to be grateful for, I think you'll start to feel the turn happen in your heart and in your life. And then you'll start to see the world differently.
Yeah, especially that's a good tip, especially if you are going through a difficult time right now. It's really hard for you to find something to be grateful about. Just dig a little deeper, and you'll discover that there is something to be grateful for. And then just back to one of the quotes that we heard a few weeks ago. I think it was by Max Lucado. He says, "Gratefulness makes what you have enough." So it's I'm contemplating the minimalist life, especially with my clothes and stuff like that. I love fashion. I love, fashion blogging, all that kind of stuff. But there's something that's stirring in my heart right now about, cultivating a minimalist life with my clothes, especially. So looking at what I have in my closet, not saying, I need more, but developing that, heart thing and that gratefulness that, what I have is enough. What about you? What are you working on?
I think we tried this past weekend going to Chicago with packing. And we still ended up having a whole bunch of stuff.
We got kids.
Yeah, we got kids. But in doing so, I didn't take a whole bunch of different pieces. I actually felt better and liked what I chose because I spent time focusing on that rather than having all these things to just pick. And we don't want to be the bag people and carry around a bunch of bags. So I'm happy about that we are lightening our load in that process.
Yes.
So I think that's it.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for watching. Comment and let us know if this, if you liked it or have any feedback or anything like that, or any topics that you guys would like to hear from us. All right, this has been Doing Life with
Kenny.
See y'all.
Peace.
See you soon.